There are those aging that age normally, we'll say, meaning they might get some aches and pains, but they're able to do their own activities and they're doing fine. The thing that most often trips them up is retirement. They're used to routines, getting up at the same time, having a schedule, going to work, coming home. All of a sudden that's disrupted and they find that, what do I do with myself? Some may have a harder time with that than others. Some have lots of hobbies and activities that they do, and so they cope very well. But often, many of them have this premise that, well, I don't have to have a routine. I can sleep when I want, where I want, how I want, and that's true. If it doesn't create problems in the daytime functioning, it's not a problem. But when it does, then it is a problem, and you have to address that. Hormones go down. Everything kind of starts to go downhill after the age of 30, and testosterone starts to diminish some. So men feel more fatigue, less energy, less strength, and then they might get testosterone supplements, and that then predisposes often to having sleep apnea. Women go through menopause. So perimenopausal is kind of the worst point to be in, when you're not premenopausal, where you still have some estrogen. You're not postmenopausal, where you're equal to men then in your risk, but in the middle, where you're changing a lot. Those fluctuations create a lot of grief. The hot flashes tend to be a bit more. You're familially predispositioned to having those. Those very much disrupt people's sleep.
We do see more kind of lighter stages of sleep as people age. And it actually is not so much a function of age as it is what we see a difference in gender. So we see this more in men as opposed to women. For some reason, women tend to actually preserve their sleep architecture fairly well.
But truly what diminishes is that the voltage of the waves decreases with age. So your brain ages, you don't get as high a voltage like you did when you were 20 years old. And that in itself, I think, is part of that feeling that you're not rested. You just don't have that great plasticity that you had when you were youthful.